Okay, so what we're going to be looking at today is a thing called the discriminant and how to use the discriminant. Basically, what we've learned so far is that we can find the vertex of a parabola using the formula negative b over 2a. And we've also learned how to find the roots by factoring. So these are things that we've done before. What we would like to do now is add to it a way to check and see one thing automatically. So before we do that, let's go ahead and look at lines. When you think about a line, it crosses the x-axis either 0 times, like that example, or it crosses it 1 time, like the example right there where you can see the blue circle. So every line crosses either 0 times or 1 time. That means it has one x-intercept, or one solution to the equation when it's equal to 0. For a parabola, we know that there are 3 possibilities. It could cross 0 times, which is where it never touches and heads up, or same thing down. It could cross 1 time, where it hits exactly at the point at the bottom of the parabola, known as the vertex. Or it could hit 2 times, which is what we've done when we factored. We end up with getting 2 answers. What we're doing today is we're looking at a method that will help us figure out how to determine how many solutions the parabola has without having to actually graph it. Meaning it's a quick and easy equation to help us figure out whether it has 0 solutions, 1 solution, or 2, also known as x-intercepts. And basically, we can kind of sketch what this graph might look like based on this. The discriminant is a formula, and this is the formula right here. Remember that when we do this, we're talking about a, b, and c coming from parabolas. Ax squared, I'll write it down for you, of the form ax squared plus bx plus c. So the first thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to identify our a, b, and c on every problem we do. But this is where this is coming from, and this is true when it's equal to 0 only. Okay, so starting off when the number that you get inside of there is negative. Okay, so the number could be inside of there negative. What this would mean is, if you think about the square root of a negative is impossible. You can't take the square root of a negative, meaning there are no numbers. So what that means is there is no way to take this number and think of the same thing that multiplies together. Okay, so for example, if it's negative 16, you might think, oh, 4 and 4 are like negative, negative. Well, that turns into a positive. If I take away the negative signs, it's positive again. So you'd have to have one of each, but you can't do that. That's not how a square root works. We're looking for the same number in both of these spots. So therefore, that means it has no x-intercepts. When we talk about 0, 0, if you think about it, has exactly one way to multiply a number by itself, which is 0 times 0. So as you can see there, we're ending up with only one possible way, and there's only one x-intercept. The last possibility is that when you do all this math in there, you could get a positive number out. When that happens, you end up with 2 x-intercepts. And the reason for that is when I take a number such as 25, it could be 5 times 5, or it could also be negative 5 times negative 5. Either one of those things would result in 25. So our job is just to decide those things. So every time we do a problem, we're going to start off by identifying A, B, and C. Okay, that's basically it. After we identify A, B, and C, we simply plug them into the formula in the correct spot. So as you can see, B is going to go in that first spot, A is going to go in the second spot, and C into the third spot. Now, when we go to simplify this, what we want you to do is we want you to imagine there being a bracket right there, or just draw the bracket in. What we want you to do is do like this. Bring the minus sign down, okay, and then determine what the other two pieces are. Negative 2 times negative 2 is 4, and 4 times 3 times negative 9 is negative 108. So doing it that way really helps, because a lot of times what people do is they lose their extra negative sign. Then a minus and a minus turn into a plus, and 108 plus 4 is 112. Now this answer itself doesn't really matter. What matters to us is if it's positive, negative, or 0. So when we look at this, we can easily determine it is, of course, positive, and what that means is that there are 2 x-intercepts. So that's it. We're simply going through the steps, trying it out. Based on what we get, we're going to decide if there's 1, 2, or no solution. So let's take a look at another example. A is 2, B is negative 4, and c is also positive 2. Plugging it in, as you can see, I put everything in the right spot. Be careful not to do A, B, C in that order. A lot of people will put the 2 and then the -4 and then the 2, just thinking it's in order. It's not quite in order. And by the way, this is a formula you're going to need to know. You need to memorize it, unfortunately. There's not a lot you have to do, but if you memorize this one and you memorize negative b over 2a, the only other formula we have to memorize for the year will be quite easy to memorize. Now we're going to start with that part right there. Again, just like last time, imagine the bracket. -4 times -4 is 16, and 4 times 2 times 2 is also 16. Well, when you take 16 minus 16, you get 0. Remember, when it's 0, that means there's only one possible solution, and so there's one x-intercept. Okay, here's something to try on your own. Again, you can pause it and try the example, and go from there. All right, so first thing you should have done is identified A, B, and C. A is 2, B is -9, and C is 3. Then you should have tried to plug them in. So if you haven't done that, or if any of that stuff is incorrect, you may want to take a second and go ahead and go back to that. Pause it again and try better. All right, so from there we're going to simplify. 81 minus 24 is, of course, positive. We don't care that it's positive 57. It could be any number. As long as it's positive, that means there are 2 x-intercepts. Right? Move on to the next example. A is -1, B is 3, C is -5. Go ahead and give that problem a try. All right, so hopefully you set it up correctly. Double check that. All right, then you're going to put in your bracket. You're going to get 9 minus 20. From there now, 9 minus 20 is, of course, negative, which means you're going to end up with no x-intercepts. Another one for you to try here. A is 1, B is 6, C is 9. So pause the video, give it a try. All right, so hopefully you plugged it in correctly. From there, we're going to get 36 minus 36, which is 0, which means there should only be one solution or one x-intercept. Hopefully this helps you see how to do these problems. Make sure you fill out the form below and do any practice problems in the homework assignments that come with this video. All right, see you next time.